So next question was, Chris says, can a GBP rank in maps for different variations of queries such as landscaping near me, hardscaping near me, etc., or should we only optimize the location landing page for the landscaping plus city and near me modifier and use the service pages to target organic rankings for those additional specific service queries? No, it's going to be the location pages, Chris. Always. Always. I promise you. That's why you optimize the location pages for the location, because anybody that is in or near that location, when they search for the term or the term near me, that location page, based upon where Google knows that that searcher is located at the time they perform the search, Google is going to select the most relevant page on the site to serve up in the search results. Okay. And so if you optimize for top level service categories or topic terms, right, which is what I've been teaching this for over 2 years now, guys, category and topic optimization, optimizing for Google business categories to perform better in maps search, and optimizing for topics, entities, to perform better in organic search. You optimize a location page for both the Google business category and the top level topic, right? The associated entity within whatever that is, right? So if you so usually the SEO title is going to be optimized for one and the H1 is going to be optimized for the other. So if you put the Google business category in the SEO title, then you put the topic term in the H1, or vice versa. The topic term goes in the H1, the Google business category goes, or excuse me, the SEO title. Then the GB category goes into the H1. And what I'm getting at here is then it's lead with the brand on location pages. That's the SEO title should be brand first, Google business category or topic term, depending on what is most appropriate. And then the location. So a location is going to be city, comma, state, right? That's what it should be. But in some cases, just city. Like go look at Wikipedia. Las Vegas is just Las Vegas. You don't have to have Nevada. You can put it there, but it doesn't have to be. But I always typically am going to use the official entity, location entity name, however it is referenced in Wikipedia, which is typically going to be city, comma, state spelled out. That's how I like to reference it in the SEO title. Okay. And then you can restate the entities in the H1, but you can omit the brand at that point because the brand is established in the SEO title and because that content is the location page is published onto the branded domain. The domain doesn't have to be the brand name. It could be an exact match domain, but it's a domain associated with the brand. So I call that the branded domain. Do you get what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is location pages should be brand first, Google business category or top level topic term, whichever is most appropriate, because you're going to use both of them anyways. Again, SEO title H1. So they're both going to get used. Just which order you put them in is there's a number of variables that can determine what is most appropriate for that. But anyways, you're going to have brand, Google business category or topic term, and then city, comma, state. Okay. That is the page that will be served in the search results for a query for the product or service plus near me, or product or service plus the location modifier. It's going to be the location page that shows up in the search results, right? If you've got a location page that is competing with a service page because you also squeezed location modifiers into the service page, which I still see SEOs doing all the time, which is improper. It's competing pages. Guys, I'm seeing this left and right now. When I'm doing competitive link analysis report reviews or full SEO audit reviews, I go in and I rerun all the Bright Local reports. And I always do a combination of the general product or service keyword, that plus near me, that plus the GBP location, so that wherever the GBP is physically located, that city name. And then typically the client submits, multiple other cities that they want to rank for. And so we'll add usually just the immediately adjacent cities to that kind of rank tracking report too, because once you get more than one city away, like so something that's no longer immediately adjacent in map search, ranking is going to tank. Anytime you try to do a search for a search query with a location modifier for a city that's more than 2 cities away, meaning it's not immediately adjacent, it's going to perform terribly in map search because the search query is asking Google to return businesses that provide that service that are physically located in that city that was added as the modifier, the search modifier. See what I'm saying? It's not saying return businesses, Google, that provide services in this area. That's not what the query is asking Google to do. The query is asking Google to return businesses that provide those products or services that are physically located in that area, right? So that's why map search, I see SEOs all the time that will submit on their client's behalf, right? Because it's SEOs submitting their clients' campaigns to me to analyze. And I see all the time where they'll submit, you know, the keyword plus a city modifier, but they're 2 or 3 cities away from that city modifier because they're in a suburb. The company's in a suburb, but they want to target the main metro area. And I tell them, like, I don't know what you told your client, but if you told them that you could get them to rank in Google Maps for this city over here, like, it's not going to happen. Like, so, and I'm very clear about this when I'm doing the analysis. I tell everybody right up front, like, look, you can rank an organic search for that query, but in map search, you're never going to get in the top 3, right? For that query because the business isn't located there. Google's not, even if you could brute force your way into the top 3, it won't last because at every opportunity Google has to push that back out of the 3-pack and return businesses that are physically located in that area that has been queried, that was the modifier in the search query, Google's going to return those. So, it's futile to even try, is what I'm saying. You can rank organically for those terms, and usually you can rank really well for the city that the business is located in. I'm not talking about with the city modifier because that's why it would rank well, because you add the city modifier for where Google knows the business is located. But for the general query, the query plus near me, or the query plus city modifiers for immediately adjacent cities, you can rank well in map search for that if all the optimization is done properly, right? But as soon as you get more than 2 cities away, kind of like what we were talking about with these, right? 1 hop and 2 hops, right? When you get 2 hops or further away from the seed location, it's no longer going to perform well in map search. And so it's kind of futile. So to get back to what I was saying about this, I see all the time that there are SEOs that are still squeezing, keywords, location modifiers, into the service pages when they are trying to target multiple locations from the site. So they have location pages on the site, and then they have service pages on the site with one of the locations referenced in the service page. And I always question, why would you do that? Because isn't that service available to all locations? So why would you have a location modifier in the service SEO title? It doesn't make any sense, right? That service should be available to all the locations that have location pages on the site. So that service should be location neutral. It should be available to all locations. So why would you? So the reason why I bring that up is because I see the competing pages all the time, where there's more than one page ranking from the same domain. When I say ranking, I didn't say ranking on page 1. Sometimes there's more than one page on page 1, but most of the time we'll see like a page 1 ranking and then a page 2 or 3 ranking. So 2 pages are ranking for the same search query, one on page 1 and the other one on page 2, 3, whatever it is. And then I go look at the page URLs, and the reason why is because, again, they're competing. There are 2 pages on the site or more that are optimized for similar search terms, locations, etc. And so Google doesn't know which is the best one to rank because it doesn't know which is the most appropriate, the most relevant. So it just ranks both of them. And if you had only had one page ranking for or optimized relevant for that search query, then that one page would have been performing in a higher position. That makes sense. So I always tell clients when I'm doing these analyses, like, listen, you've got competing page issues occurring, and here's the data to prove it. And I show it and I talk through it and explain to them how and so that they're aware of, like, indeed, I can prove it to them with the rank reports. This is what's occurring, competing pages. And here's why. Here's why these 2 pages are competing. If you were to only opt to rework the site, modify the on-page optimization to where you'd eliminate the competing pages, then the one page that's should be ranking for that query would likely perform in a much better position, right? The only time I would sometimes don't recommend that, and I always tell them very clear about this, I say, look, if you've got 2 pages ranking in the top 10 for a particular query, you may want to leave it because you're taking up 2 spots on page 1 instead of 1. But the problem is it's likely not going to last for long. It may last for a few weeks, few months even. But eventually that is likely going to end up becoming a competing page issue as well. And so that's why I recommend typically just consolidating pages or retitling pages to where they're no longer competing. And then that way, the one page that should be most relevant for the query is the one page that Google will serve in the results will likely be in a much better position than when Google is unsure and it serves more than one page from the same domain, but all of them lower in the search results than it would have been had there only been one, if that makes sense. All right. So to answer the question, do you need to have the service pages should be optimized to be location neutral, meaning the SEO title should not reference location modifiers. Now, in the H1 of the service pages, you can reference the location region, county, metropolitan area, whatever, that all of the supporting locations that the company wants to serve fall within. Like, in other words, again, you could find an overall county. Like I just mentioned, Pikeville, Kentucky is the example that I was looking at a minute ago when we were looking at the plumbing thing. Pikeville is a city in Pike County, Kentucky, right? So if I were going to be optimizing a website for Pike County for service area business in Pikeville that would serve multiple cities within the county of Pike County, then I would optimize the service pages for service plus brand in the SEO title. And then in the H1, I would say this service using an entity variant, whatever that is, um, in, or tree removal services in Pike County, Kentucky. Because now any of the supporting location pages that I'm going to reference within that content body of the service page is going to be locations that are within that Pike County area, region. Does that make sense? So again, it's not the location, or excuse me, service pages that you will rank for those types of terms. It will be location pages. All right. It's a good question.